Two men, two voices, one conversation that was never supposed to become a war. This wasn't about disrespect, it was about misunderstanding, and ego took over. Let's be clear from the start. What happened between Corey Holcomb and Anton Daniels wasn't just internet beef. It was a breakdown in communication. Two men speaking from completely different worlds, one rooted in logic, the other in lived experience, trying to have a conversation without ever actually meeting in the middle. And once the audience got involved, it stopped being a conversation at all. Core breakdown. How it started. Commentary, not conflict. This didn't begin as personal. Anton Daniels built his voice on structure, logic, accountability, systems. Corey Holcomb built his on raw truth, humor, pain, and unfiltered reality. The problem, when Anton spoke on topics that lived in Corey's world, it wasn't received as commentary. It was received as judgment. Nobody asked, "What do you mean?" They jumped straight to, "I know what you're doing." The real clash, logic versus lived experience. This is where it fractured. Anton speaks like a teacher. Corey speaks like someone who survived the lesson. Anton sounds structured, corrective, controlled. Corey sounds emotional, confrontational, unfiltered. Neither is wrong, but they don't translate. Logic tried to correct emotion. Emotion rejected logic as disrespect when the audience took over. Once clips hit the internet, it was over. Now it wasn't a conversation. It was content. Corey leaned into humor, roasting, dominance. Anton leaned into positioning, the rational voice. But here's the truth. Corey wasn't talking to Anton. He was talking about him. Anton wasn't addressing Corey. He was addressing what Corey represents. The audience became the third speaker and the loudest one. What it was really about, power. This wasn't just disagreement. It was a power struggle. Corey's stance. You don't get to speak on this without living it. Anton's stance. If it's broken, it should be critiqued. Period. So now it's respect versus authority experience versus analysis culture versus structure. And neither side can concede because conceding costs status. Why it will stay unresolved. Here's the part people don't say out loud. This situation benefits both of them. The tension builds engagement. The divide strengthens their audiences. Reconciliation doesn't go viral. Conflict does. Some conversations are meant to be private. This one became permanent content. This wasn't about who was right. It was about misread intent clashing communication styles, public performance replacing real dialogue, ego stepping in where curiosity should have been, because logic without empathy feels like judgment. Emotion without control turns into escalation. The internet rewards winning, not understanding. At the end of the day, this wasn't a failure of intelligence. It was a failure of conversation. Because if either side had said, "Help me understand where you're coming from," instead of, "Let me show you why you're wrong," it becomes a dialogue instead of beef. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.